After 5 long years of waiting, we've finally gotten a closer look at Cyberpunk 2077, CD Projekt's massive open-world RPG follow-up based on the classic pen-and-paper RPG Cyberpunk 2020 created by Mike Pondsmith in 1988. At a glance, this might seem like your usual all-sizzle, no-steak E3 trailer, but there's a lot to take away. Here's what we noticed. If we missed anything, be sure to let us know in the comments. The trailer opens up on a transit map of Night City, where Cyberpunk is set. The narrator describes it as being the worst place to live in America. Luckily, it's a fictional city in California, located between San Francisco and LA. There's a lot to take in, but one name that jumps out is Orbital Airspace Center, which would suggest that this game might not only be set on Earth. Maybe we'll get to visit some orbital colonies too. The two ruffians hassling the salaryman could very well be rocker boys, one of the original roles playable in the pen-and-paper RPG. In any case, street gangs play a large part in Night City. While Cyberpunk 2077 is leaning very heavily into the retro-futuristic 80s aesthetic of the original RPG, it's been infused with real-life technological advances like smartphones, which will undoubtedly play a role in the game alongside all the fictional tech like cybernetic enhancements. Megacorporations are also a main theme in Cyberpunk, and we can see the name Arasaka on one building, which is a private security firm specializing in paramilitary contracting. It's very likely players will either be working for them or against them. Presumably, players won't be limited to taking the train, and the trailer emphasizes vehicles, both on the ground and in the air. We can see Night City Police Department on the right side of this plaza. Depending on how they handle character creation, Cop is one of the original role archetypes, and the same goes for the corporates in this meeting. In the parking lot where this guy is getting kicked under the sign for Bushido 3, there's graffiti on the wall that reads, "Where's Johnny?" This could refer to Johnny Silverhand, who was a famous rocker boy and a sample character in the original Cyberpunk. Given the numerous bar minigames in the Witcher series, it seems likely that Cyberpunk 2077 will have billiards. The cowboy leaning on the pool table also makes an appearance in the background earlier in the trailer, so he could be a key character. There's a kid jacked into a VR headset. Will there be video games within this video game? The same goes for robot boxing, which could be a similar system to the fight clubs from the Witcher games. As the camera pulls away from the AUG's makeup tutorial, there's a poster on the wall for someone called Lizzie Wizzy, and some newspaper magazine clippings hinting at violence erupting at one of her shows. Pop stars and performers like Lizzie or Johnny Silverhand were often more than just public figures in the cyberpunk world. They'd often find themselves in the middle of conflicts, using their charisma and fame to rally people to their cause. Maybe Cyberpunk will let us recruit our own followers and send them on missions. Night City is sure to have plenty of densely packed urban sprawl, but probably some rural areas too. Who's to say there can't be hillbillies in Cyberpunk? Trauma teams are privately operated paramedic squads, and it's likely that, should we run afoul of some street gangs, we'd be able to pay for their services to tend to any injuries we might have sustained. This poor sap getting his circuits fried on a plane is likely a victim of corporate espionage. There have been at least 4 full-fledged wars between the megacorporations of Cyberpunk's version of the 21st century, and it's likely that these conflicts will be a big part of the main story of 2077. Jacking into cyberspace plays a major role in cyberpunk fiction, and it'll be interesting to see how it's handled in-game. It'd be a little silly for CD Projekt Red to build a massive open world only to have players roleplay as people staying indoors and going online, but at the very least, expect this game to definitely have some kind of hacking mechanic. Stealing a dude's cybernetic eyeball is pretty gross, but if it's a means of improving your character, that works. And really, cybernetic augmentations go a long way explaining an upgrade system within the story of a video game. Hey, the license plate reads CP77, get it? Once again, a big focus on driving, which seems almost out of place in an RPG, but considering the amount of time spent on horseback in The Witcher 3, it makes perfect sense. How many vehicles will there be? How much customization? We have no idea. This game is still a ways out. But because CD Projekt Red is fully aware of how closely people will be looking at this trailer, they put a nice handy FAQ in a single frame. It doesn't give a whole lot of hard info, but it reiterates some stuff that we already knew. They'll release the game when it's good and ready, but there's currently no release date. There will be no microtransactions or DRM, and they plan to offer free DLC and expansions like they did with The Witcher. Of course, if you'd like to know more about this universe, there's 30 years worth of lore to dig through from Mike Pondsmith's original Cyberpunk 2020 RPG, but we'll have to wait and see how much of it shows up in 2077. Though hopefully we don't have to wait until the year 2077 to find that out.